G'day guys, welcome back to the Speed Shed. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a video with one of my mates. This is Matt. He's got a boat that he's building at the moment, so I had to pop out to his place, so I thought I'd just do a bit of footage and check out his boat and see what he's up to, see what he's doing with it. So it is in the build. There's obviously some bits and pieces missing, but it's a bit of a long-term project that he's doing. So just have a bit of a yarn and see what he's up to with it. So g'day Matt, how you going? So you want to give us a bit of a rundown on the boat? Who's it built by? What is it? All that sort of thing. So
yeah, from what I can work out, it's 94, 95 model rival.
Yep.
The Shallow Vee.
Yep.
18.6, built by John Backer.
Yep.
It was set up originally as a blown alcohol boat, but I'm setting up with a tunnel rammed LS1. So,
yep.
Motor-wise, it's rebuilt bottom end, CNC heads, cam.
Yep.
With the tunnel rams still running EFI. Just a standard GM computer, and yeah, trying to set up for a bit of everything, and drag racing, ski racing. Just want to get as much out as I can.
So it's an LS base.
LS base.
Yep.
LS1.
Yep.
Cathedral ported heads.
Yep.
Yeah, so it should be, from build specs and that, should be around the 550 horsepower mark, somewhere around there. So
yep.
It's all closed loop cooling, external oil filter coolers. Yeah.
So what did the motor come out of? Do you know?
From what I know, it came out of a VX Commodore.
Yep.
So like VXSS. So
yeah, right.
Pulled it all down, and just gave it a bit of a freshen up and done what I could do to it for the time being. It's gone a lot further than what I originally planned to.
As they tend to.
Yeah, so it was only meant to really get a stock motor, but then that just snowballed, and it's been 3 years. So it's slowly getting there, but yeah, it's just when you get some spare cash, spend it on it and keep going. And
so a bit of a freshen up turns up into something that you didn't expect it to be, of paying a lot more money for things and that sort of thing, and yeah.
And the type of boat it is, and you can see everything, just try and go into as much detail as I can, and
yeah, make it look good. Yeah. So you're going to be running, looks like Holly EFI, I'm assuming, by the
so
rails and stuff.
EFI fuel, just for the fuel rails.
Yep.
It's Holly manifold.
Yep.
AccuFab throttle bodies. Standard injectors for the time being.
Yep.
And just your standard GM. VX computer.
Yeah, okay.
For the time being, so.
Yep. And what was the reasoning for going for the tunnel ram sort of look, just for the look?
Yeah, I like it.
Like it? Yeah.
Pretty much, so. Yeah,
that looks good.
It was either go tunnel ram like that, or like I said, I eventually want to go blown, but that's just a lot more money than I can afford at the moment. So tunnel rams makes it look a bit cool, I think. So that's it. That's kind of what I wanted to look for.
Yeah, that's good. Your sump looks a bit fancy down there. What's that?
Yeah,
what's that about?
I had a bit of trouble getting sumps. Simply wanted to sit the motor as low as I could in the boat. So, but over here there's not too much options for different sumps. So, done a bit of research and found a place in America that they put those sumps. They do all LS conversions into drift cars, like the Sylvias and all that kind of stuff. So they need a low profile sump that can handle all your drifting and the oil splashing around. So got onto them and got them to send me measurements to make sure it fitted in there and everything. And
swipe the card and away you go.
Pretty much. So wasn't a cheap thing to get here from the States, but
I can imagine.
It's still a lot cheaper than going dry sump, which I can't really afford to go cheaper. So,
plus more room in the boat and that sort of thing. So
yeah, that's it. So everything I found in Australia for sumps was either out of stock and they weren't really making them much anymore, or finding something that someone else has modified and did it work. I don't know. So I kind of went with this idea of, well, if they're throwing them in drift cars and everything like that, and they're getting thrown around a fair bit, and should work hopefully okay for me. So
they're the original tanks out of the boat, is that correct, from when it was racing?
Yeah, so the stack tanks were original from it. So when I brought the boat pretty much came bare, apart from stack tank, gearbox, a couple of different types of engine plates and engine mounts for
Yep.
small block and LS.
Yep.
And that was really it. That came with it, a couple of seats, and it was pretty much a blank canvas to work with. So
Beautiful.
that's kind of why I went LS in it. I didn't have. If I had more stuff for small block, it would have just kept with small block, but
Yeah.
I didn't have anything, so I'd just go with the LS side of things and go with the AFI and tunnel ram it. And
Yeah.
it was kind of the line I've kind of wanted to go down. So
Yep. As cool as the small block stuff is, I suppose LS stuff's getting more prevalent now, and it's easy to get bits and pieces
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. So that sort of helps as well. But
yeah.
cool to keep the stacked tanks, so keep it looking as it sort of did. So it was a circuit race boat, that's correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Set up for that first. So
Yeah.
only from what I know about it, it's only been on the water a handful of times.
Yeah.
Sat in sheds ever since. So
Yeah.
it ran. I think it was a 97, 98 Gold Cup.
Yep.
And that was really it. So I decided the stack tanks, I wanted them to stay, just with the detail in them and the way they look. So
Yep.
they were staying for good. It's made it a lot harder to fit the boat out.
Mhm.
Takes up a lot of room, that. So even the heat exchanger that I'm running is Cole Senior heat exchanger.
Yep.
That's stashed right under the back there,
Yep.
behind the stack tank, and even to get that in there, just the amount of work to change the way the fittings were on it, brackets and machining and everything. There's not much room under there. It sits on top of the steering, got about a finger's gap between the top of the heat exchanger and the decks, so it's very tight.
And I did notice your giant snake is about
Yeah.
3 metres of what size is that?
-20.
Dash 20?
Yeah.
It's a cheap exercise, no doubt,
Yeah,
but
that's definitely draining the bank account. But
at least it'll look cool, that's the main thing.
yeah, I was really trying to work out how to run that, whether I made solid pipe and everything, and then went rubber hoses to the heat exchanger and to the motor, or run your -20 stuff. So I went for the -20 side of things, modified the water pump to suit it all. So one of the parts I got for the thermostat housings from America.
Yep.
So the -20 can just screw straight onto that. So that was easy. But as for the top of the water pump, I've had to do a fair bit of work there, and machining and tapping and everything like that, to be able to adapt -20 straight onto it. So then that, and even where your heater hoses usually go, pull the barbs out of that, tap them, so I can get dash fittings into that. So they'll be running to header tanks and everything. So still a fair bit of work that needs to be done there, and a lot of hours that went into sorting that out. But
no doubt.
yeah, it's all slowly coming together. But
You're pretty lucky in that regard, though. Isn't your old man a fitter and turner or something like that? So
so Luke and Dad are fitter and turners. So we've got full machines,
mills and lathes,
and so we've got the lathes,
helps.
mill machines, everything all helps. So, and then we've got pretty lucky knowing a few different other people that can do a lot of other things for us too. And so there's been a lot of mates help out in the build. A lot of family. Me, brother and dad have put a lot of time in it together. So without them, it wouldn't be where it's at. I don't know how to do everything, but a bit of help here and there, and it's amazing what you can get done. So
that's exactly right. Helps to chip things away, doesn't it?
Yeah. So pipes are done locally. For one of our mates, he does all custom pipes for hot rods, boats, whatever. So and so the boat sat at his house while I was away for a while, and done all that. So I made sure I wanted them. So I wanted the pipe sitting as low to the deck as I could, and hugging that stack tank. So he done a really good job with that. So
Mike's pipes, is that right?
Mike's pipes.
Yeah.
So,
Now they're a good looking set of headers, that's for sure.
Yeah. So
look pretty.
It's all slowly coming together, but it's all the little things that. The amount of hours that go into just pulling it out, putting it back in, and little adjustments here and there.
I know all that all too well. Yeah, exactly right. But even just your brackets and stuff like that to mount it in and everything, it's like just getting things sitting right and heights and that sort of thing. It's a lot of mucking around. Definitely all takes time. So
I had an idea, thought out how I was going to run all my oil cooling side of things, so I made all the plates mounted, oil thermostat, oil filter, everything, and then got onto another system for the oil thermostat, and that changed that whole entire bracket. So now that's pretty much gone to a wall ornament. It's back to the drawing board to make a new bracket out of it. So go buy my aluminium plate and start tracing things out and starting to make more things fit. So it's never ending really. So
pretty well, all trial and error in it, trying to get everything to fit and that sort of thing. And when you're working with something that's, I mean, relative to a car engine bay, it's not that tight. You've got a bit more room, but it's still trying to make things fit and look neat more than anything. I think at least a car engine bay, you shut the bonnet and no one sees it then, until you pop it. But once you see it, it's like it's in your face. You want it to look good.
Yeah, that's it.
Look neat.
Like, there's not much room there, so I've still got between the stack tank and the motor. There's only a couple 100 mil there, and there's still weed traps that go in there, fuel pumps, filters, and everything like that. So it's just it's going to be very full on when it's finished. But to be able to mount everything, it's all hanging off the engine rails there. So there's only so much room you can work with, and
that's exactly right. Make heaps of brackets and all sorts of stuff.
Just get a bit creative with it. It's just time and patience at the end of the day. I find that if I'm not in the right mind to work on, I just don't touch it. It's just not worth it. It's, it's everything that you find that I do that if I'm not in that right mind gets redone. So it's just better off to leave it. And
leave it until
that's why it's taken 3 years to put it together, kind of thing. Time and money side of things. So
but clearly you're spending some dollars on it, so you want it to be good, and a half-ass it sort of thing, and it's a bit how you going. You want to enjoy it. So
there's it's been a definitely big learning curve. It's the first time that I've actually built something like this. So starting off relatively fresh to it and knowing a tiny little bit of things, but not a whole heap. To now I've learnt. I've had to redo a few things just from working out that was the wrong way, and learning a lot of new stuff and everything. But it's been fun.
But it's not like you haven't been around boats your whole life, though. Your old man's into them, your brother's into them, all that sort of thing.
Grew up all around it and everything, but I think when it comes to building something from scratch, it's something different. I think it'll make me appreciate it a lot more when it's on the water, for knowing how much time went into it.
Especially the boats you see out there, and you look and you go, okay, someone had to set all that up. I can now appreciate all that sort of the time that's gone into it, and the mucking around and the head scratching and all that sort of thing. It's like, it definitely takes a lot of hours, doesn't it?
A lot of things that you don't think of until you're actually doing it.
So it's a pretty interesting looking cav gear setup you've got there. It's sort of it's something that I personally haven't seen before. I'll put some videos in here, but it's a bit of, is it like a C channel sort of thing? What is that? No, it's a couple of flat, but it's sort of, it's mounted off the deck by the looks, or a bulkhead or something. Is that correct?
Comes up and picks up the bolts off the steering column. Also picks up a bolt off the T-bar as well. And the pivot's up under the deck there. So
puts the pivot up really high and sort of gives you almost, I don't know, multiple times the purchase of just if you had a foot pedal hanging off the cav linkage sort of thing, I suppose. So it's a pretty interesting setup. And I've also noticed the steering column, something else that I hadn't seen before. Seeing this thing, it sort of goes down through the front bulkhead, which is sort of pretty much under where the camera is, 800 mil or something like that, forward of the dash. And then there's it's basically a chain of sprocket set up with the cables running down the right-hand bearer. So pretty interesting that it's such a long, I guess a long shaft and that sort of thing. It goes quite a way forward, and then running down that inside bearer. I hadn't seen that in something like this before either. It's pretty interesting setup. But you're saying that there seems to be a rival sort of thing with this cav plate or something.
That's what I
you're
think.
thinking? Yeah.
So I haven't seen that foot override set up like that before in any other boat or anything like that. I could be wrong, I don't know, but from what I can see in some of the other photos of other rivals and that, I've seen that same setup. So that's what I'm
assuming.
Assuming that it's must be a rival thing or something. So
looks like a pretty clever setup. Like plenty of. Well, should theoretically make it a bit easier on the legs, I think, I suppose.
Yeah,
so.
like it's got a, even when you sit in it and like put your foot on it, you get a fair throw out of it. So it's not just a little bit of movement or anything, but even, I don't know, sitting on the trailer and pushing it down compared to other boats that I've sat in, sitting, you know, still and just putting your foot down, it seems a lot lighter in itself. So I don't know if that's something to do with it or not. I'm not sure. I'll tell when I drive the thing. So
that's exactly right. It's definitely interesting. Anyway, so
it's got a fair few different bolt holes there too, so you can actually move that pedal.
Yep.
Further away or closer, depending on what I suppose,
leg length and that sort of thing. Or if you want your foot up, yeah, it's pretty clever. Clever, but. I'm correct in saying that you had a bit of work done inside when you got it. Is that right? Some work to the bearers or something like that.
So the bearers never used to be the blue. It was still like the side of the boat where the balsa floor is there. Clear
balsa sort of thing. Yep.
But it was all starting to crack all along the inside of the bearers and the outside of the bearers. So I got that all repaired. Ground out and all beefed up a bit more, so that's all good to go now. So when they done it, because they weren't going to be able to match how it originally looked, so we just ended up just going with the blue masks that all out and to make it look a bit neater kind of thing. So
it looks good though.
Working that was a bit of a setback because it got to the point where everything was starting to come together for good, and we took it to see one of the guys we know that had done the work, and he pretty much turned around and said, it's got to come out, it needs to be repaired because it's starting to pull itself apart. So, So, but I was in one way it's good because it was before I got on the water and done any more damage. But so it got completely stripped down and all redone. Then the fun job of getting all the engine rails back in, setting everything back up to the right heights, and all the measurements that were done before to make sure when it went back together, everything went back together. It's not like everything. If nothing was set up, then it kind of probably wouldn't have mattered if it was a bit narrow or a bit wide or whatever. But because we set up all the mounts for the tank, the skeg brace, the engine mounts, everything like that, it had to go
back same spot.
So there's a bit of work there. It's all good now. So it's been pretty much done from transom all the way up to the headboard there. So.
So from a longevity standpoint, it's probably the clever thing to do, because even though it's, as you're saying, it's probably only hit the water a handful of times or whatever, it's still a 15, 20-year-old boat that's had how many horsepower going through it back in the day?
From my understanding, it was about 1,300 horsepower going through it. So and that's
it's a bit of stress.
From what I got told, that's what's kind of done the damage to the boat. It was pretty much trying to tear the bearers out of it. So, so it's got the Argo V-drive in it. At the moment, I think it had like 42s in it or something. I think we're going to be trying it with I've got a feeling it's around 15% gears at this stage. So it runs. It's got 1.1/8" shaft in it. So that's probably a bit of overkill for what I'm doing with it, but if that's what it's got, I'll just keep with that and sort out props from there. So I think we're aiming for around a 10 3/4 to 11 and a 15 pitch. But we'll see what it's like once we get it in the water, and might work, might not.
It's always a gamble with this sort of stuff, isn't it? But that's sort of that gearing and I suppose prop diameter and pitch seems pretty consistent with you know, moderate sort of power, I
Yeah.
suppose, and what people sort of seem to run. It seems to be around that sweet spot. So I think you should be getting pretty close on the money there. So, but then again, I suppose it's not like you're going to be out and out racing it either.
No.
So it's, you know, for what you're doing, bit of
It's
this
more
and a bit of
fun
that.
kind of thing. And
Yeah.
just to get it out, and instead of the way I've built it overkill for probably a lot of things, but I like my ski racing.
Yep.
I used to ski, and I was starting to get back into it again.
Yep.
So I wouldn't mind, you know, running it down the river.
Mm.
Might need a bit more fuel, but we'll work that out when it comes to it.
That's it.
But yeah, if I can run my own boat down the river and ski behind it, then that would be good. But at the same time, I want to have a crack at drag racing and
Yep.
yeah, actually just get it out and use it. You know, there's a few places we go to that's brackish water, which is partly the reason I went closed loop. You know,
Yep.
salt water and brackish water. It's I can run closed loop. It's a bit more setup, but it's just one less thing I have to worry about with flushing everything out. So
Yeah. Are these alloy heads?
yeah, so alloy heads. So basically it's just
So you're doing too much
common-
corrosion and yeah.
So so it's setting up so I can use it pretty much. Yeah, I didn't want to have something where it just had one purpose and that was it. So
No, it makes a lot of
get it out
sense.
and have some fun with it. That'll be good.
Yeah, nice. And what sort of speeds are you hoping to get out of it?
Hoping up to 90.
Yep.
So if we can get it around that 90 mile an hour mark would be nice. I think.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to push too much more with the motor that's in it.
Yep.
But yeah, to get it up to 90, I think there's going to be a lot of tuning in it to get it there. But
Yep.
that's kind of where we're aiming for.
Yep.
That
See
does
what
what it
happens.
does at the end of the day. But that's kind of where I'd like it to sit. Somewhere there, I'd be happy with it. So see how it goes.
All right, so I'm going to hold this by hand while we have a bit of a look around and just have a bit of a yarn. So original cav gear on the back, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I haven't touched anything.
Touched any of that stuff. And original trailer for it?
Yep. Original trailer.
Yep.
So that's still on the cards to be redone.
Yep.
Once the boat's finished.
Yep.
So it'll pretty much be still the same white checker plate. Looking at different things to do there. I might anodise all the checker plate.
Yep.
Something a bit different. Just had all the wheels done on it.
I was about to say those wheels definitely weren't the originals.
Yeah, no, they weren't.
Which I know
actually
about.
Don't know what wheels were on it originally. There's not many photos of this boat. I've only found 2 photos of it on the water. So yeah, I don't have much to go by with what it used to be like, but they're Corvette wheels. Those.
You can see by the shine on him, he clearly does things by halves.
No, yeah. So I bought them. Usually it's hard to find a set of 8.5s or 9.5s. They're usually staggered.
Yep.
But I got onto a bloke in Ballarat that had a whole heap of stuff, sheds full of Corvettes, and went down there, took the boat down there to see how it all looked and fitted and that, and
Yep.
managed to get a set of 4 8.5s off him.
Yep.
So I just had all them refurbished. Big tyres on it for trailers, 2 4.5s on it. So, but yeah, need to fill those big guards out. So
That's right. You got to fill the guards. It look a bit, I don't know, anemic without big wheels on there, I think. So,
yeah.
but as you can clearly see, not the sticker, but in the background there, you're a bit of a boat fan. Obviously, like we said, your family's been into boats and that. You got a bit of a social boat over there. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, that one's. I've had that 9 years now.
Yep.
So actually, I was looking at either buying a house or a boat and decided I was going to buy a new boat. Mum and Dad were quite happy for me to stay at home for another couple of years, so went and brought that first.
Yep.
Dad helped out with that one too, so he has a bit of money in it as well. But
Yep.
that's just our family boat to go away in and have fun. So that's got a 6 litre in it.
Yep.
But it's got the LQ9 motor, so they come out in like Chev trucks and everything. So cast iron block, alloy headed.
Yep.
Got forward, neutral, reverse in it.
Yep.
Different intake manifold, but still runs GM computer. locally made boat
Yep.
in Campbellfield, Alco.
We won't take the cover off, I won't piss you off, but you can see it's got some pretty funky looking interior, nice green and that sort of thing. It matches the outside, so but she's a pretty good, I suppose, all-round ski boat, isn't it? You know, go out with the mates and that sort of thing, and have some fun, do some skiing and all that sort of thing. And clearly, I'm assuming this is your daughter's boat.
Yeah, so that one, daughter's just turned 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think I brought this before she was even born. I found it on Gumtree. I think it was up in Wagga, maybe, I think might have been.
Yep.
Yeah, saw it on Gumtree, raced up there and got it. It's all timber hand built thing. From my understanding, it's from the 50s.
Yeah.
It runs a 24 volt motor in it.
Oh, so it's electric.
Yeah, so it's got so the electric motor's sitting under here.
Yeah.
And then there's two batteries linked under there, and it's just got the on-off switch.
That's
For
gold.
it. So it yeah, it's good for the kids. We took it away, and the daughter likes just sitting in it. She doesn't really know how to drive it yet, but the older kids can drive her around in it, and it's fast enough for the little kids. So
Yeah.
like, if you try and swim flat out, you won't keep up with it. It's
Yeah,
just
right.
a little bit faster. So it's not too fast for them, but it's enough for them to have fun. And the battery, it'll last for hours. So
Someone's clearly gone to some effort to build it once upon a time, so
yeah, like it's
that's pretty cool.
nothing inside. It's got a little seat there, like everything.
No, yeah, little removable seat, and
Yeah. No, it's
that's
cool
crazy.
little boat for the kids.
Yeah, and clearly a bit of a skiing fan with all your skis and stuff hanging up and that sort of thing. So, as you say, getting back into racing, if you got the ski out here, the question is, are you going to be fit enough?
No, not right now. I can just fit into my wetsuit right now, so I've got a little bit of work to do there. But yeah, skiing, I've been brought up around boats.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Dad had boats before I was even born. So but yeah, between me, Dad, and brother, I think we've got 7 boats.
Yep.
And 2 are going.
Just
at
a
the
few.
moment. So 2 are going, and yeah, there's a few that need to be built still. But yeah, fair to say that we're pretty heavily into boats. So
It's all part of the journey.
yeah.
That's good. Well, I'll turn this around. Hopefully I can get myself in this as well. Do the fully sick millennial selfie thing. But we might get out of here. I don't know if you can tell I'm shivering a bit. It's pretty bloody cold at the moment. So, but yeah, we've had a bit of a look around. Thanks for letting us have a look around and talk a bit of rubbish and have some fun. And we'll have to come back down and once you got the boat back on the water and
Have a bit of run in it.
have a bit of a run and bring the old Falcon taxi out to have a bit of a run with you, and yeah, we'll have some fun. So, no, all good. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers.